everyone, it is Miss Copley here, and today we are going to be talking about objective summary, and more specifically, how to write an objective summary after reading informational text. So let's get started. First off, let's look at some key terms. So before we can learn how to write an objective summary, we need to know and understand a couple of important terms. So go ahead and let's take some notes on these because they're important. First, summary. And you've probably been writing summaries since like kindergarten, so you know what a summary is, but let's just review it. A summary is just a brief statement in your own words about the text. That's all. That's all it is. It's nothing fancy. It's just a brief statement in your own words about the text. So you just summarize it. Up next, we have objective. An objective is not as well known as summary, and that's okay. But an objective in this case is when you state just the facts and leave out your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. While those are important, when we write objective summaries, they are not needed. So you leave those out. It's just the facts. Central idea. This should be a review, but central idea is just the main focus of the text. So it's the essential ideas that help you understand the passage. So it's basically why the author wrote it. So the big ideas in each section. And then finally, we have supporting ideas. And those are the details and facts that support and develop the central idea. So they're like the building blocks that build up your central idea and why the author wrote this. So now that we have some of the basic vocabulary down, we're going to look at how to write an objective summary. And we're going to do it in 4 steps. So here we go. Step number 1, actively read the text. What that means is that you're going to read with a purpose. You're not just going to read it and just kind of go on. You're going to read with a highlighter and a pen in your hand with the goal of understanding some of the central ideas and what's being said so you can determine the objective summary. So as you read, you highlight ideas, words, and phrases that are repeated. You annotate to remain focused in thinking about the text. So annotate means you jot down maybe doodles, things that you can see, reactions, questions, big ideas, that kind of thing. So if you read with a purpose, then you're more likely to stay focused. All right, so that's step 1, actively read. Step 2, you're going to identify the big ideas. So if your article is broken into sections, after each section, you will ask yourself, what is the big idea from this section? Why did the author write this? What do they want me to learn from this section? And then you're going to jot that down next to it. So if you actually have paper, like an article on paper, then you can jot it down. Or if you're reading something on a screen, you can read it and then just keep notes on a sheet of scratch paper. Now, if your article is not split into sections, it might be split into beginning, middle, end, or by paragraphs. So whatever it is, you want to break it into sections if you have to yourself and ask yourself, what is the big idea from this section? You'll highlight details and evidence that support the big idea in each section. Step number 3, determine the central idea. So after you have all the big ideas written down, you'll look at them and say, what is this text mostly about? Like if I combine all of these central ideas together, what is the author trying to say here or teach me? Or what's the purpose of this? And that is the main point of the text, your central idea. And again, highlight details and evidence that support the central idea in each section if you haven't already done so. So now we're on to our final step, which is step 4, writing the objective summary. So we're going to put all these pieces together and write our objective summary. So here are the components of your objective summary. First, you will include the title of the article. Second, you will do a summary action word like shows, describes, explains, discusses, lists. You can see the rest of them. Third, the central idea of the article. So for example, If I was reading this article and I was writing an objective summary about it, who invented candy corn, and I go back to my list of what I need, I will say the title of the article, which is Who Invented Candy Corn, describes, so I picked one of these words, one of these summary action words. So, who invented candy corn describes the history of candy corn. And then I will give key details that support the central idea. So, some of the details might be like who created it, where was it created, what year it was created, what people thought about it when it first was created, that kind of thing. Things that support the central idea. So that's how you write it. And typically, this is about 4 sentences. So I do numbers 1, 2, and 3 will be 1 sentence. And then your key details, each detail will be its own sentence. Now, if you're reading an article that's split into sections, you can pick out a key detail from each section, and that will be the sentences that you have. So if you have an article with 4 sections, your first sentence will be numbers 1, 2, and 3 here, the title, summary action word, central idea, and then the remaining sentences will come from each section. I hope that makes sense. So that's how you write an objective summary. Be careful because there's some things that we do not want to include in our objective summary. So when we start writing, we might try to slip some of this in there. So let's make sure we watch out for it. Number 1, your opinions, reactions, and judgments. If you think candy corn is the grossest thing ever created and you don't even understand how it's a candy because the waxy nastiness makes you want to vomit, great. That's your opinion, and that should not be in an objective summary. If you would fall on a sword for candy corn because you think it's amazing, awesome, but don't include it in your objective summary. Your objective summary should not include opinions, reactions, or any types of judgment about what you have read. Number 2, do not include exact quotes from the text. There are instances in language arts where I ask you to write actual text evidence, like quotes from the text to support your thoughts and opinions. This is not one of them. Objective summaries, you put everything in your own words. Number 3, there might be some interesting facts like candy corn was once called chicken food. That's pretty cool. You don't need to include it, though, in your objective summary because it's not part of the big idea. Although sometimes it might be, but in this case it wasn't. Number 4, minor details do not need to be included in your objective summary because it will start to bog it down and make it too wordy. So that is it. That's how you write an objective summary. I know you're ready to go and do one, but if you want to practice your vocabulary really quick of what makes up an objective summary, there is a link to the quizzes below to practice this. If you're an ELA teacher and you're like, I want my students to have more practice with writing objective summaries, I do have some activities to go with this. So if you will click the link below, there is a link to a mini lesson where students can practice writing objective summaries after reading different articles. And that is it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, have a great day. Until next time, bye.